Welcome back to the Sci Squad podcast. How y'all doing?
I'm alive.
What's up?
It's been like 7 years.
And
I
two
thought
more.
we were dead.
So did I.
Oh, but yeah, we're back after Rona and Thanksgiving and busy season. It's time to get into some fun sports talk that we haven't talked about in a long time.
Hell yeah.
What
So
is a
remind-
sport?
I don't know. Have you forgotten?
What's, yeah.
I don't even know how to describe a sport.
There's been a lot of really good football games since we've been last on.
Yeah, multiple game of the years for sure. And both college and professional and amateur, like all around, there's been awesome stuff.
Oh yeah.
Go sports ball?
Go sports ball. We might start out with the sports ball. That's starting up here soon. The NBA is coming back officially next Tuesday night. Preseason going on right now, and it's pretty damn awesome.
Oh yeah, I saw that preseason was on the other day. I watched a little bit of it.
Nice. I think this preseason is exciting in a way because there's so much that's happened since the bubble. And there's so many teams that weren't in the bubble when the bubble got hot. And so seeing the teams like Warriors and the Hawks and all that get a chance to play again is awesome. See the rookies and especially the veterans like John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins who are coming off of like big injuries, not playing. Like John Wall hasn't played since 2018. To see them come back and just come back without missing a step, it's pretty awesome to see.
Is Kevin Durant still hurt or is he coming back?
He is also coming back.
Oh. I knew he was hurt for a long time.
Yeah, he tore his like ACL or something.
He played like 20 minutes, yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah. He didn't play a lot, but a little taste of Kyrie and KD.
It was also nice to see, the one of the latest Ball brothers that are in the NBA, LaMelo, having the flashiest of passes with the Hornets. Like, he did behind the back, he did like a no-look alley-oop. It was really interesting. It was really cool.
I thought you were going to bring up the other Ball brother, LiAngelo, who just so happened to get cut from his team.
Gasp, I didn't know that.
Yep. Ball brother just isn't good enough.
Who'd he get cut from?
The Pistons.
Hmm.
So that's how you know he really
Yeah,
was not good, because the Pistons are not a good team.
Are the Hornets good?
They're not. They're not a team that you would expect to be talked about as great.
Fair enough.
But I'd say they have the potential to be a good mid-card team this year, especially with drafting LiAngelo and stuff, or LaMelo or whatever. But I don't know. We'll see here in the next couple weeks what teams are.
Fair enough.
Because especially with preseason, you don't necessarily see all of what everybody's got. But it'll be fun. Giannis got paid. Probably the biggest NBA news coming out today.
Yeah, he got the Supermax, right?
Yeah, for Milwaukee. And the crazy thing about that is all the talks that he didn't necessarily want to be in Milwaukee for the long term. And of course, any team is going to do what they can to try to get him. There are talks about Miami, Golden State, name this place and he'll go there. At one point, it was even the Nets. Like, it's been crazy to see all the talk that he's been getting. And then he just, Milwaukee tries to go all out to get him, signs Drew Holiday, and all of a sudden he signs the max 1 week before the season starts, lifting a big burden off Milwaukee's shoulders.
Well, yeah. I know that, well, obviously the Supermax is a lot of money. Does it like different? Is it like based on the player, based on the team? What's the max, or is it like how long they've been in the league?
So the max is the maximum amount of money an NBA team can give a guy per year, like in a year. So like I know the Warriors have like 2 or 3 guys with the max, and the max increases every year. So like it's really up to the team. Yeah, it's really up to the team to decide what they want to pay it forward, I guess, in a way.
Because there's no cap, right? So it's
Right.
basically there's a limit on how much. Okay, that makes sense. All right.
So like you can't give them $10 billion, but
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
But tell you what, though, for a player like Giannis, a lot of the stress that you're worried about if he was going to stay or he was going to go, it's probably just a huge weight off the Bucks and their teammates' shoulders. So now they can just focus on trying to win an NBA championship. Clearly, he thought the Bucks made enough moves to keep him there, and I know he loves Milwaukee. So I mean, I think it's good for the NBA that he's staying. I think it can kill that stigma of you got to build all these super teams, player movement. When the 2-time MVP, one of the best players in the league, is deciding to stay in a small town Milwaukee, I think it's a great storyline too.
Yeah, no kidding. I actually have a pretty funny story though about the Supermax signing. So I was at work today, and at work we play ESPN throughout the day. The ticker came on, and they were talking about how he's getting $228 million. I had a customer in the store, and he turns and he's like, "Really? They're paying that guy $230 million to play some dumb game?" He's like, "I could go out and dominate that baby anytime."
Oh, Jesus.
So we all know Giannis is like almost 7 feet tall, right?
Brendan was telling me this story today too, and I was like, bro, that guy probably couldn't even handle Isaiah Thomas.
This guy was like 4'11", like 5'3" max. That's how tall this guy was. And he was like, whenever I go out on a court or a field, I dominate. So that guy has nothing on me. And
Here's
it's
what we'll do.
in Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Okay. Oh, guy.
Next time you see him in the mall, tell me, and I'll come run and hurdle him. And then
He did also want a suit that he can, and I quote, do a roundhouse kick in. So,
that's hilarious.
pretty sure he was a spy, which is not as cool as it sounds.
Wow. So where are you taking us after that story, Brendan?
Well, I don't know. It's just a funny story.
Okay.
I thought that maybe we could kick it into the next gear.
You tried. But,
Is Giannis playing on opening night?
yes. No. Technically not.
No.
But he's playing the day after.
Well, who's playing on opening night?
Oh, great transition there, Ben. The Golden State Warriors are taking on the Brooklyn Nets.
Whoa!
In what could be a battle for KD as he faces his former team, who he was a snake for and won championship with.
How it all comes full circle.
It's amazing. So, we got some predictions for this game here going on, and I think that the Warriors are going to beat KD without Klay Thompson, 112-110, and we're going to start off this relationship with Kevin Durant and Steve Nash and Kyrie off on a bad foot, just 'cause it'd be funny.
Neil, I do not have that prediction. I think we're going to see some low-scoring games to start off the year, because right now a lot of these teams are on short rest. It's a lot of these teams are on short rest. They're not going to be at fully 100%. But I do think that KD is going to come back with a vengeance. I think he plays well. I think they win 98-90. And Steph, I think the Warriors are going to see some issues because I think Steph might be the only way they can score.
I have the Warriors are going to come out of the gate swinging. Kevin Durant's not going to get revenge on his former team. He's going to play really well, but he is going to lose to the team he once called home. 115-100 Warriors.
So, I think that this game's going to be really close. I think that KD and Kyrie are going to kind of fight over the ball just because that's the most them thing. But somehow, just because I feel like the Nets are more of a complete team right now with the lack of Klay Thompson on the Warriors side. I mean, they do have Andrew Wiggins and wait, they still have Andrew Wiggins, right?
They do for now.
For now. They have Andrew Wiggins and they have obviously Curry, but I think the Nets will end up pulling away with a win 110 to 108.
All right. That's pretty good score. Pretty good score. Next up we got a battle in LA again. Is it actually going to be in LA?
I don't know, actually. That's a great question. I would assume so. They've been playing preseason games there.
Hopefully. But yeah, Lakers battle the Clippers in what is always a good matchup. Sadly, I don't have this being a very good matchup, as I think that the Lake Show is going to show up and they are going to destroy the Clippers 124 to 86.
I actually think this might be a slow start for the Lakers. They played the longest out of the teams, obviously, in the bubble because they went and won the NBA championship this year. LeBron and Anthony Davis haven't really played a whole lot in the preseason. I think it's going to be kind of a slow start, but I think it's just also going to be them kind of on cruise control, kind of feeling things out, new teammates and everything. So I give the Clippers the edge in this one. I say 110-104, but it'll be back and forth. Clippers close out with like free throws because the Lakers have to foul it towards the end.
I kind of agree with Noah where I don't think it's going to be the Lakers are just going to be full speed all the way on the gas yet. I do still think the Lakers will win this. I don't have a wide as a margin as some of us. I have the Lakers winning 120 to 105. Just like Noah said, I think it's going to be probably back and forth the entire game. Lakers will pull through in the end. LeBron will hit a couple good shots, and it's going to be 120 to 105.
So, yeah, I think the Clippers are going to struggle because I think the Clippers are going to pull some BS load management stuff again.
Ooh.
Granted, there's 8 games less in this season. I think Kawhi and PG-13 are still going to sit the opening night just kind of as a FU to the fans and stuff. So that'll...
Ooh.
I have the Lakers then winning 131 to 92.
That would be such a bitch move by Kawhi and Paul George if they did that.
I kind of love it, though. I'm not going to lie.
As a fan, I think it's fucking awful. I want to see the best teams play on opening night. Or the best teams and the best players. I want to see it all right out of the gate.
Right, and I'd bury them for it, but I'd also at the same time, laugh my ass off.
You can't give away the secrets of how your best players are going to play with the first game.
True.
Fair statement. Real quick here before we move on, and we might as well talk about James Harden, because I just saw this wonderful thing about James Harden. Besides James Harden getting fat and wanting out of the Rockets, in his first game back, he put up 12 points, was 30% on field goals, 2 of 6 for threes, 4 free throws of 5 made, and 3 turnovers in 20 minutes. Poor guy.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to be there.
We're watching his career crumble.
We really are, and it's kind of a bummer. Well, I don't think it's going to crumble. I just seriously think he just doesn't want to be there, at all.
You know what? One of the landing spots that Harden wants is the 76ers. And Harden is, I think, just really trying to act like as much of a bitch as possible. So that way he fits right in with his teammates, Joel Embiid, when he gets shipped to the Sixers.
I mean, hey, that's one way to do it. Way to get adjusted right away.
And plus, that's still better shooting than Ben Simmons' whole career. So he still has enough take to make it on the Sixers.
Bold take. Ben Simmons is going to shoot 3 threes in his first game this year.
And he makes none of them.
Exactly.
I didn't say if he made them. I said he's going to take 3 threes. And you know what that is? Progress.
He did say
Right.
that if he has the open look, he's gonna take it.
There you go.
But Brick Simmons will continue to brick it.
When we get into full season mode here for the NBA, we should all play a drinking game where we take a shot every time he misses a three-pointer.
Well, yes,
That could be a long night. Or a short one.
Won't be that many shots.
I don't know.
Devin Booker is gonna win MVP this year.
That's an interesting take.
Hear me out, right? CP3 is a pass first kind of guy, right? That's just kind of how Devin Booker is a shoot first kind of guy, right? Devin Booker will average 35 points a game. It'll be
Jesus.
ridiculous. Like ridiculous.
That is an insane amount of points. I don't know. Like, I think Devin Booker will have a really good year. I think Phoenix can be a playoff team without question. I think it's just going to be tougher to win MVP because, I just think there's a lot of players that could win MVP. Like, a lot of players in contention this year. Like, you got LeBron. You have Giannis, who's back-to-back. Luka's the favorite going into this year. And not to mention, you have guys like KD, Steph Curry's getting a lot of love. There's just a big pool of players that could win MVP. Should be really interesting.
I do think that if he doesn't win MVP, which is a long shot, I'm just kind of throwing it out just so that way, like, you sometimes you throw something out in the world and it
then
comes
when it does happen, you'll look like a brainiac.
Yeah, but I think what's gonna actually happen, I think he's gonna have another game like his 70-point game. I think he might be able to drop 82 in a game.
Ooh,
82.
that is
My God.
points.
I will look at the schedule and I will pick out the game. I can't say that. I want to see how some teams play. And then I will pick out which game he's going to put up 82. 82 points.
All right, January 27th, or whatever episode is then. That's when we want your prediction. The 26th, January.
Got it. We'll make
right.
a document for it now, so that way we remember.
There you go. Curry with the steal! Oh, and he missed it. Ooh, poor guy. It's okay.
That's me playing 2K. I always get the steal and then miss the shot.
It's okay. Curry got the steal. That's all that matters. The dude behind him made the bucket that he missed. But yeah. So another sport that just got over that we missed talking about was soccer.
Yeah. Columbus Crew quite handily beating Seattle Sounders, the largest deficit of victory in MLS Cup history, a big 3-0 win over the Seattle Sounders. Should have been Minnesota in that game, but I am not in a state to talk about that yet still. But Columbus was kind of down and out, actually. They had a lot of players out with COVID, including 2 of their best players in Darlington Nagbe and Pedro Santos. But it didn't matter because 2 goals by Lucas Zelleran, who is their best player, paved the way for a really impressive performance. He also had an assist. He was MLS Cup MVP. And this is an awesome rebirth for Columbus because 2 years ago, they were on their way out to move to Austin. But because of their big fan movement, the Save the Crew movement, they were able to keep the team. It was awesome. It was great. And then, and then they get a new coach. They have an injury-plagued year last year. And then they have to deal with COVID issues this year. And, they get a new head coach in Caleb Porter. And it's just like, dang, this was a really fun year for Columbus. And I think they are very deserving of the cup this year.
What is it with Ohio and getting their team stolen?
I don't know.
'Cause like last night at the Cleveland-Baltimore game, which we'll get to later, they could not stop talking about when Cleveland moved to Baltimore.
Yeah, moved to Baltimore. I don't know. Ohio's, it's because it's Ohio, that's why. Sorry to offend our Ohio listeners.
You made a good point there about Ohio.
At least they won't lose the Ohio State University.
The Ohio State will always be good.
Yeah, because they trademarked the.
They tried to trademark the most commonly used word in the English dictionary.
The SciSwap Pod.
The.
Yes, sir.
No, stop, guys. We'll have to pay Ohio State a nickel.
The Ohio State got enough problems going on as it is. I don't think they'll be worried about us. They got half of the world, or half of the U.S. pissed off at them for decisions that the NCAA decides that they want to make. So, I mean,
the committee is in a very interesting spot.
I don't know how you can give it to a team like Ohio when there's teams like Cincinnati or teams like BYU or even teams that are just better
So here's
playing.
Here's my issue. So their justification for everything is so beyond weird because they sit there and say how, like, well, we're going to try and put the best teams in regardless of games. And yet the reason for not putting Cincinnati higher, in fact, dropping us is, well, we haven't seen them play in a few weeks. No, well, that's the case, and you can't put Ohio State in there in theory. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, if that's the case, and even if Clemson – and then they only dropped Florida one spot after losing to a really bad LSU team. So now it's all of a sudden you're justifying if Clemson's a two-loss team, you justify putting them in. And that would be ridiculous if you put a two-loss Clemson team in the college football playoff. It'd be insane.
Well, LSU won because of and I quote, football move, so.
Yeah, no, LSU did win off one stupid unsportsmanlike conduct, but why was LSU ever even in that football game? Why was that a thing?
Exactly.
Like, that just shouldn't have been the case. And yeah, they're going to get walloped by Alabama.
I still don't understand why they couldn't have made a game to replace Michigan.
Right.
Like, I get what they say they want, this and then we care about our athletes. But if BYU and Coastal Carolina can do it in 2 days,
right, exactly.
How can you not do it in a week?
Right, like, why can't you get it in a week to figure out to play Texas Tech?
Exactly.
Or to play Texas A&M?
Because they're scared they're going to lose, that's why.
Well, and the thing is, that's the thing, because I don't even really know what to think of Ohio State this year. I just don't think they've been the same team. It's been a very weird year for Ohio State, but it's also just been a weird year for college football.
That's fair, too.
It's hard to judge everything this year, but their justification behind everything is just so hypocritical and so lopsided.
To be fair, it's just been a weird year.
No, and I have no issue with them putting Ohio State in, but it's just then you can't use that justification to not put Cincinnati in. You just can't.
It's just getting their players, the players from those teams. It's just getting them prepared for what it's like being under Commissioner Roger Goodell in the NFL.
They're doing a good job.
It's all about preparedness for their future careers. That's what college is about.
They care about their athletes and they prepare them for the future.
Sure. That's what they say. But I don't know. I hope the NCAA figures something out.
Well, all said and done, I think they'll end up putting the right teams in. And I have no issue putting Ohio State in. I really don't, because Ohio State deserves to be there. But it's just the justification for, we think they're the best team and, we're not going to worry about games. Well, then you can't do that for top six.
Exactly. They just take these power teams that make all the money and, throw the other teams to the side.
Right, which, fair not. It's all just about who the best team is. And do I think Cincinnati's a top 4 team in the country? No. Do I have an issue with the teams that are in the top 4? I don't. But just don't sit there and feed me this BS excuse for why these teams are in or why Florida doesn't drop that much and they lose to a really bad LSU team. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, then you have to use that logic for Clemson. So it really doesn't matter if they lose,
Right.
Because then all of a sudden Notre Dame's undefeated. And it's like, well, we can they're undefeated. We can still put them in just based on our logic with Florida. It's just not very smart logic, in my opinion.
That's why it's above our pay grade.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I'm not doing the job.
Yeah,
But
we too smart
A
for
lot
it.
of money.
So who would your top 6 be then?
My top 6. Let me look here. So I think I put Texas A&M at 6.
Okay, who do you put ahead of Texas A&M?
I would agree. Probably Bama's number 1.
Yep, I have no issue with that.
I know Clemson's in there. I want to put, just because I want to be difficult, I want to put a team like Coastal Carolina or Cincinnati in there. Granted, they don't have a chance. I would still put them there just for the screw you. I would put Ohio State there, but that's because they're Ohio State and not because of some bullshit reason that you're giving me.
Right.
And what's the other teams even up there? Because I wouldn't put BYU in there anymore.
No, I wouldn't either.
Florida's out of there.
Yeah.
If Notre Dame can beat Clemson, I would put them in there. But that's a big, if they can beat Clemson, which I don't think will happen.
I think the only way Notre Dame can stay in is obviously if they win, but they have to lose to Clemson by they have to lose by a possession or less. Or less than a touchdown. Because then it proves okay, we are legit. We took Trevor Lawrence and the Clemson Tigers the absolute distance and we gave them our absolute best. And we've proven that we're better than Texas A&M. Because if you get blown out by Trevor Lawrence, now that the conversation is, it's, that's why you beat him the last time. You took him to double OT with a true freshman quarterback and with all the injuries and blah, blah, blah. But then again, you can use the logic for, say Texas A&M who got blown out by Alabama.
Right. Okay, I got it. So I'm going Bama 1, Clemson probably 2.
Does it really matter if Alabama is just blown out if they play?
I mean, Alabama's going to win the whole thing anyways, but...
Yeah, you put Clemson over Notre Dame even though Notre Dame beat them?
Yeah, because I don't think Notre Dame's going to do it again.
Ooh. All right.
Number 3, we're going Clemson. Number 4, we're going Ohio State. Just because I'd like to see them not screw Ohio State over because Ohio State is on a hot streak.
Yeah. No, I actually have no issues with the top 4 at the moment. I don't even have an issue with the top 5. I think Texas A&M should be at 5. It's at 6 spot that's very interesting. Because right now, Iowa State is the 6th best team in the country. What if they blow out Oklahoma? What if they beat Oklahoma twice in a year? And
I don't think they're moving, sadly.
Oh, I don't think they are either, but it creates a conversation. What if Clemson loses again? And Iowa State's a 2-loss conference champion, and Clemson's just a 2-loss team without a conference championship. Then Iowa State wins their conference. And Ohio, I mean, I don't think there's any chance Northwestern wins, but it creates an interesting conversation.
That it does.
Because the committee loves to throw the resume thing right at us, and for good reason. Because obviously it all comes down to who you beat, and Iowa State would have a really impressive resume.
Yeah. Ohio State fits all the boxes to make it.
Yeah,
It's
Ohio State deserves to make it. They do. I have no issue with Ohio State being in the playoff because I think they deserve it. Because Ohio State is a top 4 team in the country. Justin Fields is a legitimate threat for the Heisman Trophy right now. It just makes sense to put them in the top 4 because they're a top 4 team in the country.
We'll see what happens this weekend.
We will. I'm very excited, intrigued.
I still want Trask to win the Heisman.
Yeah, that's not going to happen after how he played against LSU. That takes him out of it.
Hey, Coach Ed got a dub. That's all that matters.
Coach O got a dub.
He needed it too.
Yeah, he really did.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
All right, I need you to go Tigers. Go Tigers.
I love Coach O, but it's easy to win when you have the best college football team ever assembled.
Yeah, is a good point there. Oh, you want to move into the NFL?
Sure.
All right. So we missed a couple weeks, but some things have changed. Some things have stayed the same. The NFL announced today that there's not going to be a bubble for the playoffs, which is kind of disappointing, but at the same time, I don't hate it because that means there's less things for people to bitch about.
Yeah. See, I have no issue there being no bubble, but the only issue it brings for me is now it's like, well, shoot, what happens now if you get COVID cases or, all that BS that comes with it? It's like, well, shoot.
If Seattle can do it, other teams can do it.
And I think the NFL's done. I know it hasn't been perfect, but it hasn't been that bad for COVID.
No,
I mean,
the NFL's done a really good job. The only thing I just have issues with is how they've rescheduled some games, catered to some teams and not the other. And by some, I just mean the way they handled the Broncos situation. Other than that, I think the NFL's done a really good job of how they've handled everything.
well, I don't even think the Broncos situation was all the NFL's fault. I think that was.
No, it's not, but I wish they would have, in terms of, I don't know. It's such a weird situation because obviously Denver put themselves in that situation, but it's still just like, dang, if you want the best quality for the consumer and you want the best teams to play or you want a fair whatever, like you got to make sure that game isn't played or whatever, especially when they've catered to like, Lamar Jackson and, all these other teams and stuff. It's just, that's the one that's just been bad for me, but.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the playoffs will be on Nickelodeon, or at least some of them. So we'll get to see SpongeBob.
I'm really excited to see, a coach get slimed after winning, the AFC Championship.
Oh, Jesus. Andy Reid's getting covered in slime.
More like Nick Vrabel, but besides the point.
Well, considering his name's not Nick Vrabel, that is impossible for Nick Vrabel to win a title.
Oops. Well, Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel could win the AFC, but it's not going to happen.
I don't know where I got Nick from. I've had way too much time off.
Poor guy. But week 14, let's get into it. So, we'll start out with the Rams.
Yep.
I think they can do something.
Yep, I do too. We have the second best defense in the NFL.
Are the Rams still leading the division?
They are. And
I think they're going to keep it.
Guess who they play this week?
Seattle.
No,
Jets.
they play the Jets.
The Rams literally got a nice little easy way to get
that division.
Yeah.
Because and then now it comes down to that Seattle game in a couple of weeks, which is going to be an intriguing game. And Seattle's not going down without a fight, of course. But, I seriously think we are a really good team. Do I think we can make a Super Bowl run? I don't. Do I think we can win a couple playoff games? I do. The only thing that's going to hold us back is Jared Goff because he still just isn't exactly all there for me. There's still some inconsistencies there. Things have to be really good for him, but we're establishing our game plan to perfection. We are, like I said, our defense is just incredible this year. I can't even express how happy I am about the defense. That's been our saving grace this year. But I definitely think this team is legitimate. I definitely think this team can be looked at as a legitimate threat to win a very wide open NFC. So I'm excited. I I just wanted us to do better than what everyone else thought we would, and we've exceeded that. So we're a playoff team regardless, and that was kind of my goal going into this year. So I'm not gonna sit there and be greedy and want all of this and that. So let's just go out there and just take it one game at a time.
Hey, Noah, question.
What's up?
Who did the Rams lose to besides the Niners?
So they've lost to the Niners twice. They lost to the Bills, but should have won. And they lost to the Dolphins.
So luckily, it's none of the teams you have to play in the playoffs.
Yeah, pretty much. But but we played all those games. We should have won that Buffalo game, but it is what it is. Miami was a weird one. We literally were the better team, but just lost because of bad turnovers and special teams play. San Francisco, they just have our number. They match up well with us, but we also match up well against Seattle and Arizona. It doesn't matter what year it is and how good they are. We just match up well with them. That's just how it is, and it be what it be. I don't worry about nothing.
That's good to have confidence in your team again.
Yeah, no kidding. And now all of a sudden it's like, dang, we're maybe not as screwed for the future as I thought we were gonna be.
Well, I don't know if I go that far.
Oh, I do. We have a lot of our best defensive players either locked up or they're really young. Offensively, no one's going anywhere. So I don't see why we would drastically regress.
That's fair.
So, like I said, well, and the thing is, like, even last year, it's like, oh, everyone's talking about how bad we were. We were still 9-7.
True.
We were a couple plays in each game away from being in the playoffs again. And if it was, if last year would have been the first year of the 7-team playoff, we would have been a playoff team.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if the Jets beat the Rams?
Oh my God. I want the Jets to beat somebody so badly.
See, and that's the thing. As an analyst, I say there's no chance that the Rams lose. But as a fan, as an actual fan, I'm just like, I've seen weirder things happen. And you never have full confidence in your team. No matter who they play, no matter how good they are, you're always just in the back of your mind of like, these fuckers are going to find a way to lose, aren't they?
That's fair.
I would be desperately sad if we lost to the New York Jets.
Who do the Jets play? So they play the Rams in Week 15. Who do they play 16 and 17?
Browns. Week 17, you know who they're going to beat? The Patriots.
Oh, wait. We're talking about the Jets.
Oh.
Yeah. Week 17, the Jets are going to win.
Okay, interesting.
Yes.
Actually, an interesting theory of what happens. Bill Belichick throws the game so he doesn't have to play Trevor Lawrence twice a year.
Let's go.
I mean, it's an interesting thing to think about.
Couldn't they still get the first pick even if they're 1-15?
Nah, because the Jags are also probably only going to win one game this year.
But who would get it if they're both 1-15?
I believe the Jags would.
Well, who is the Jags' one win against? Oh, the Colts.
Yeah, the Jags are currently on like a 12-13 game losing streak.
I think technically. It's really interesting. What is the rules that decide that? Because I know one of them would be divisional matchups. Both would have one.
Right. So it would be like divisional matchups. It would probably be like.
If it goes off of the team record of the team that they beat.
Yeah, or like some weird. Or they would probably first they would do like point differential or like, stuff like that.
Which if they do point differential, I mean. The Jags had a close one with the Browns. The Jags had a close one with a lot of teams.
Well, let me look.
The Jets had a close one with a couple of teams.
Let me look at 1 second.
Because I still feel like it would end up being the Jets. Because honestly, like this Jets team is the worst team in football history. Even if they do get a win, like they're just bad.
They are. Here, I want to check something. So the Jets are the worst team in football. 0-13.
So if the Jets go 1-15 and so do the Jags played teams with a worse record overall throughout the year, so the Jags would get the pick.
Yes.
Also,
Amazing. Come on,
dude,
Bill.
here you go. Bill Belichick's throwing the game. He's going to swallow his pride, lose to the Jets, so he doesn't have to play Trevor Lawrence twice a year.
Come on, Bill. Do it, please.
That can be Deshaun Watson and Derrick Henry's problem.
There we go.
And then Bill Belichick can get Gardner Minshew.
And then they can get Gardner Minshew and be subpar.
There we go. Gardner Minshew is above
I
subpar.
think that
He's par.
Belichick put a
or
defense around
That could run it
any
back.
quarterback. What was that, Noah?
I said, or the Pats could run it back and go get Jimmy G.
That's a possibility. And honestly, I think if they did, I don't know.
I think if they had the chance to, it'd be interesting to ponder.
Because Marquise Lee, right, would come back from COVID next season because he opted out for COVID. Marquise Lee is basically the same person as Marquise Goodwin.
Why? Because they have the same name?
No, because of their play style. They're just faster than everybody and have good hands. That's all they do.
Yeah.
So, like, you pair those up, and then you also have your kind of scrappy guy. Well, honestly, the Pats could even pick up probably Kendrick Bourne in the offseason to really just make Jimmy G have a very similar, like, play style up front. Because the Patriots already are running 6 to 7 running backs anyways. That's just the Patriot way. So they could almost build the same offense in San Fran that Jimmy G had for his Super Bowl run, maybe minus a fullback. Well, I guess they'll also be missing a tight end that would play at the same caliber. Never mind.
It's big Jimmy G.
That kind of killed it. I forget that the 49ers have the best tight end and the best fullback in football. So
They don't have
They don't have Travis Kelce.
they have the guy better than Travis Kelce, aka George Kittle.
I'm kind of changed on that. Travis Kelce is the best tight end football has ever seen.
Travis Kelce's
Not that
leading all
football's ever
receivers
seen.
in yards.
He might be. Travis Kelce just might be.
No, he's
And
not.
that's coming from a Broncos fan,
When
Brendan.
Travis Kelce's career is all said and done, can you I think Duncan has a legitimate point there. When Travis Kelce's career is all said and done, there's a good chance he might go down as the best tight end of all time.
He's going to be the first tight end this year to lead the league in receiving yards.
Yeah.
First tight end in NFL history to lead the league in receiving yards.
And that's especially impressive with Kansas City because you look at all the weapons that they have, it's like, dang. And he's the guy leading the way. In the NFL, not even just on his team, in the NFL, whew.
Travis Kelce has more receiving yards than the number 1 and number 2 tight end in the NFC.
Oof. That's insane. Yeah. When it's all said and done, there's a really good chance he could go down as the best ever.
Oh, especially
I think better than Tony Gonzalez, who is
especially with a couple rings with Matt.
I just want to see George Kittle in a season that he doesn't have to play in MetLife.
Well, to be fair, he was back, even after MetLife, and he was, healthy throughout the year, or he was healthy for a few weeks stretch, and there hasn't really been any issues with MetLife since the Niners game. Is it just me being an annoying Rams fan saying the Niners are a bunch of baby back bitches? Maybe, but that's neither here nor there.
You did bring up a good point about MetLife. There has not been a single complaint about MetLife since
Since the Niners game.
a certain team complained.
The NFL literally reviewed the field and said, yeah, there's literally nothing wrong with this turf.
I'm not saying there is anything wrong with the turf, okay? I just want to put this out there. I think there's just some weird superstition with 49ers and MetLife Stadium in the recent years.
That's a bad problem. That's not an NFL problem.
Oh, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying I want to see George Kittle with actually a competent quarterback. So Jimmy G would have to stay, but without having to play in MetLife, because in theory he shouldn't have to play in MetLife next season at all.
Well, Yeah, I mean that's probably true. Yeah, I suppose that. Yeah, because they play.
Unless the Giants get last place, but they won't because Dallas is getting last place. Because the
Well,
Niners are
no,
on
if
pace
Dallas
to get last place.
Dallas can win a couple more games.
Uh-oh. Because that's the only way I think the Giants can end up on that schedule.
Right.
Because I don't think the Jets won't be on that schedule again because they just
No,
played
they won't play him for
East
another
this year.
4 years. Well, they won't play at MetLife playing the Jets for another 8 years.
Right. It's really just about if the Giants end up getting last place or second place.
Yeah.
So look at the NFC East messing things up for everybody.
Yes, they are. Back to Week 14 though. The Seattle killed the Jets. No surprise. Keeping in the Seattle division, the Cardinals beat the Giants. But I don't think it's really necessarily the Giants' fault. Daniel Jones came back from an injury. You can tell he wasn't ready to come back. And I still think the Giants have a chance at the division. So it was just kind of a good win for the Cardinals, not a bad loss for the Giants.
Hassan Reddick, the Cardinals edge rusher, he was the first player in like almost 20 years to record 5 sacks and 3 tackles for a loss in the game.
Yeah, he also destroyed the New York Jets by himself.
Yes, he did. Which is interesting because
Doesn't that tie him for the single game sack record with 5? Or is it 6?
No, I think it's 6 or 7.
It's not 7. I know, I play defensive line a lot in men.
This is interesting though because the Cardinals did not pick up his 5th-year option.
Ooh. Which honestly I don't blame him because Hassan Reddick has been hella underperforming because he was a first-round pick and he has not been very good.
The most sacks in one game is 7 by Derek Thomas on November 11th, 1990 against the Seahawks.
Hold up. You said how many?
7.
Oh! What the hell? That man.
Could have swore.
Derek
Man
Thomas
lied to me.
against the Seahawks.
That is insane. How do you let a man destroy you 7 times? Oh my god, that's an insane number. That may never be broken again.
I don't know. We'll see how the Rams O-line stays together, having to play Nick Bosa twice a year.
Actually, our offensive line is a lot better this year. And
yeah, but old.
Whippard might be back next week against the Jets.
It's getting old though, Noah.
Well, yeah, no, he's getting old. This will probably be his last year, but I don't know. Every time I think it's his last year, he just decides, hey, I'm gonna play another year.
Might as well. If they'll keep having you back, might as well stay.
Right. And besides, this is a really loaded tackle class this year, so the Rams can go out and get us.
Does the Rams actually get a first-round pick?
No, but it's so deep we can get a good guy in the second.
That's the confidence I like.
Yes, sir.
Football team beat San Fran.
They did.
And they lead the division still.
Yeah, Chase Young is
going to win the division.
Yes, I think they will win the division.
Chase Young is already a top 5 defensive end in football.
Yeah, and defensive rookie of the year for sure as well.
And it's not even close.
You could argue defensive player of the year if you really wanted to push.
If you really wanted to reach, I think you could make the argument. I won't buy you on the argument, but I will be a good person and hear you out.
I think he'll get a vote.
I think TJ Watt, not even just TJ Watt, but just comparing him to TJ Watt is playing out of his mind this year.
Yeah, TJ Watt's the best defensive end in football right now. TJ Watt is probably defensive player of the year. It's either him, Myles Garrett, or Aaron Donald. And personally, it's got to be TJ Watt this year. He's playing cracked right now.
It's because Madden only gave him an 83.
Well, he's going to be at this rate, he's going to be a 99 soon.
Maybe.
Don't get too excited there.
Well, I won't. It's just, it's crazy. The Watts just produce good athletes like it's nothing.
Yeah, I can't wait until TJ and JJ and Derek children all have NFL careers.
I know they all just have young studs just waiting.
That'll be amazing. Cowboys, they're alive. I was surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't surprised that they beat the Joe Burrow-less Bengals, but
No, but I'm surprised they did so well.
yeah, their defense actually looked solid. They actually played again. I'm gonna not go crazy and take into consideration who they played, but still, like it's a good win for Dallas in a really crappy division. It puts them in the hunt still, and I think that's what Jerry Jones wants. So yeah, good for Dallas. I don't feel bad for Dallas. I just feel bad for Dak.
Will Dak get signed
Yes.
by Dallas?
Probably.
Not probably, because I think Dallas now looks at the situation like, damn, we really are dog shit without Dak Prescott, aren't we?
I was just looking at that college mock draft before we did the podcast, and did have the Cowboys picking a quarterback in the first round.
Well, yeah, if Jerry Jones has the balls, he could draft a quarterback. I don't think he should. I think you should ride with Dak Prescott, personally. But the Dallas has a really interesting proposition, and I think they have a legitimate case to draft a quarterback. And they have a chance to get a guy like Zach Wilson or Trey Lance. So it'll be interesting. But I think you got to go the way of re-signing Dak Prescott, personally.
Well,
But Jerry Jones loves to be flashy.
So I'm trying to think of where Dallas would be as far as pick rating. Aren't they like at 3 or 4?
No, in this mock draft they did get Zach Wilson. I think they're like 8 or 9.
How? There's not that many bad teams in the NFL.
They won. Oh, you're talking about why they're that? Well, I would have to look at who's ahead of them, but
Because I know the Jags, the Bengals, the Jets, obviously, are low-win teams.
Cowboys are 7. Jets, Jags, Bengals, Chargers, Falcons, Panthers, Cowboys.
I forgot about the Chargers and the Falcons. So Dallas has 5 wins after this one.
4 and 9.
Oh, they're 4 and 9.
So is the Carolina and Atlanta.
And
Okay.
Carolina will lose more, and so will Atlanta.
yeah.
So Carolina needs to beat Green Bay, and Atlanta needs to beat the Buccaneers. I don't see a problem with this.
Hey, if my boy Aaron Rodgers wants to throw 4 pick sixes this week, go right ahead.
He doesn't even have
he'll
4
be
pick
throwing
sixes in his
touchdowns.
entire career.
I was just gonna
That's
say.
why it's gonna happen. It's gotta happen at some point.
Well, I'm sorry, but the Panthers secondary is like non-existent.
Jeremy Chin.
Their
Teddy
defense-
Two Gloves goes in a shootout with Aaron Rodgers and somehow wins. Like it's 2015.
So, I'm re-looking over the mock draft I saw earlier. They actually have the Cowboys trading up to 4 and getting Zach Wilson.
And I wouldn't.
Really?
He's the third quarterback taken out of the first 4 picks.
That's crazy.
So the Jets and the Jags both take a quarterback. Oh yeah.
Yep.
I suppose.
Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Penny Sewell, and Zach Wilson.
Penei Sewell.
Yes.
Yeah, I suppose.
Nice,
'Cause-
nice.
It's tragic that if the Jets get second, right, the second pick, right, we're gonna go crazy here. They don't take a quarterback. They keep working with Sam Darnold.
Oof.
And they traded to the Cowboys so the Cowboys can come up
Boys
and
get Justin Fields, and then Dak is a free agent and ends up in New England
Or Indianapolis.
or Minnesota.
Or
No.
Detroit.
No, they're definitely not going to Minnesota. He's definitely not going to Minnesota. They already have a contract. They have to worry about a quarterback.
I
Well,
don't.
they can't.
Well, maybe Detroit, because Detroit's Matt Stafford's out on Detroit.
Yeah, but
Not
but
so much the other way around.
Detroit is still rebuilding though, and you're not going to go and get Dak Prescott and pay him that money and put yourself in a crappy cap situation just to be a 6-10 football team. Not because that roster is still not properly assembled.
I got it. I know where Dak's going. Football team.
Yes.
They need a quarterback.
Yes.
The division, he
And
goes to
Dak
division
would be
five.
pissed at Jerry Jones, so he'd want to play him twice a year.
The only thing I worry about is that the football team does not have an O-line, so I would worry for Dak's well-being.
Their O-line hasn't been that bad this year, but they would need to invest in it. A high draft pick or trading for somebody.
Hey, it's a pretty good draft for tackles,
It is. This is true.
and it just lessens the Rams' chances of getting another tackle. So, football team takes a tackle at, oh shoot, but they're gonna get like the 28th pick because they're gonna make the playoffs. That's not the 28th. Sorry, the 25th. 25th.
You don't think football team moves on?
Not to the NFC championship game.
Yes.
That's where they would have to be to get the 28th.
Well, we were just talking about quarterbacks. How about a surprising quarterback matchup where I think a guy may have just gotten replaced? Jalen Hurts upset the Saints.
Yeah. He provided a spark that they needed.
I don't think that Jalen Hurts is his performance was the reason that they won. I think that the reason they won is just because of the move that happened.
Well, and I think they simplified the playbook for him. They also found a way to run the ball against New Orleans. So, and that's a big thing because they haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in 55 straight games, and they allowed 2 of them against Philadelphia. So, it was a good game plan, I think, by Doug Peterson. I thought he had a really well coached football game, and like I said, it provides a spark for them. They're now back in the hunt, and Hurts did not play terrible. He showed a lot of promise and what you want out of when you get him for a second rounder. But now here's the interesting part. I think you have to. I know it's a lot of money invested. I understand that you're going to be hard pressed to find a team willing to pay that money, but you have to find a way to get Carson Wentz off that football team now. Because you mean to tell me that now with now that Carson Wentz obviously couldn't handle the adversity of just a second round pick, what's going to happen when he's contending for the starting job?
Right.
It's just a waste.
I guess that's a risk you take though when you draft a quarterback.
It is, but now you have an interesting thing on your hand, and there's probably still a team out there that could use a guy like Carson Wentz if you just put him in the right system. Again, I would love to see him in Indianapolis, but then
I'm sure a team who loves to take white quarterbacks that live in the mountains, would love to have Carson Wentz.
Oh, the Steelers.
Not quite. I feel like that's such a classic John Elway move.
To get your boy Carson.
Yeah, to get a guy like Carson.
Drew Lock plays so well.
Drew Lock played one good game, and that scared John Elway. John Elway cannot handle that.
I saw an interesting stat the other day that off play action passes, Drew Lock has 120 passer rating, which I think was 4th or 5th in the NFL.
Yes,
Not on play action passes, his passer rating is 59 and is last in the NFL.
Are you sure that's not Jared Goff? That sounds like Jared Goff numbers.
No, it said Drew Lock.
That sounds like
I saw that too. I screenshotted it somewhere. I can't find it, so I must not have screenshotted it actually. But yeah, isn't that crazy that when you set the offense to something that Drew Lock is good at, all of a sudden Drew Lock becomes like the star that he should be?
Right.
Well, yeah, but you can't just run play action passes.
No, it's gonna get torn apart if you do it unless I don't know. I guess it depends because the Rams still find a way to do it, but then again, the Rams are just a better team than the Broncos.
You right?
So what's this mean for the Saints that the Eagles beat them?
Well, it's very important to the NFC playoff picture
Right.
because the Packers are now the 1 seed, and if the Packers win out, they will get the 1 seed because they have the tiebreaker over the Saints.
Pretty
That's
much.
awesome.
But in terms of like what their plans are for a Super Bowl year, it doesn't derail them because Drew Brees will be back soon. It just shows that Taysom Hill he's not your guy, and I never thought he was the guy. I just knew that to be true, and you just got to ride out for a couple more weeks and just hope you don't have to beat Green Bay in Lambeau Field, or just hope that Green Bay slips somewhere.
But see, the Saints play Kansas City this week.
Oh shit, that's right. Yeah, they're fucked. Well, they're fucked in terms of the 1 seed.
We get Panthers, Bears, and Titans.
Titans will be interesting. That's really about it.
It will be interesting, but even if the Saints lose to KC, that game won't matter really.
Right.
That'll be interesting.
Can't believe we're already in playoff mode here.
I know.
I love it.
Me too.
If the NFL just came back yesterday.
Yeah, no shit.
Sure. Scotty Miller came back on Sunday.
Oh, that Vikings game was very interesting.
Not in a good way.
Not in a good way.
I thought it was in a good way. I thought it was a good game.
Of course you did, Ben.
I thought the Vikings had every chance to win that football game, personally, but
Well, when you got Dan Bailey as your kicker, and he goes a little to the left and a little to the right,
yeah.
and then misses a couple more.
I also thought there was some questionable officiating in that football game, but that might just be me.
I mean, you got to take officiating in the NFL with a grain of salt. There's a couple other things that happened this weekend that were also very questionable regarding a few catches. A Detroit game comes to mind when I think of that.
I agree that Marvin Jones was a catch.
I don't know who doesn't besides the refs of that game.
But I think this week had the most missed extra points of any week. I think there was 9 missed extra points this week.
Jesus.
I know Brandon McManus went 2 of 4.
Yeah, did you see his self-roast?
Yeah, oh, sorry, that was supposed to be my burner. It's so good.
Gotta love a guy with a sense of humor, though, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Just a good field goal, though.
Yeah. Do you think Tampa has a chance in the playoffs? Like a legit chance?
Do I think they're a Super Bowl team? I mean, no. Do I think they'll be a really tough out? I absolutely do.
I'm just not sold on them.
Yeah, their defense has been not to my liking over the last few weeks. Tom Brady I think he's still good. He's still putting up good numbers. But it's just like, there's just so much weapons to go around where it's like, God, it's almost too much.
We'll just need to see if
Tampa doesn't really have an identity offensively, and that's an issue when you're getting into the playoffs. You have to know who you are, and that's kind of how it is. You just got to know what you're all about, how you're going to win football games, because at least all these other teams know what they're all about. They know what they need to do to win football games. And I just don't think Tampa knows that yet, and that's alarming because you have Tom Brady. You should just know how to win football games. And with all the talent they have, it's just like, geez, you think they would figure out something.
I think we need Tom Brady to gain his consistency back because he has been anything but consistent this year. And
what I think needs to happen, I think Bruce Arians needs to swallow his pride and tend to Tom Brady and change that offensive system. Obviously, you can't do it now because you're knees deep into the season, but that should be the first thing you do is, tend to Tom Brady. I understand it's a couple of egos in the room. I understand. But it's just one of those things where you just gotta, you have a very short window with Tom Brady. This is your chance to win a Super Bowl. And I said you need to take advantage of that any way you can. And that's, if that means tending to your quarterback, which I think every head coach should do, by the way, and I mean every head coach, then that's just plain and simple what you have to do. You have enough weapons to make it work. It may not be explosive like you want it, but you're going to win football games because of it. You have a really solid running game with Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones. Why don't you utilize that more? Why aren't you exploiting that to establish something more things offensively? I just don't understand it.
Okay, your thing about coaches tailoring towards their quarterback, Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson is, well, again, I think Philly just has always been handed a bad card with injuries, but
Doug Peterson is 11-2 with a quarterback not named Carson Wentz.
yeah, it's I don't really know what Doug Peterson. Well, actually, you know what? To be fair, he does tend to his quarterback. He just tends to the backups. So you know what?
That's a great statement.
Still not wrong. He just loves tending to the backups.
Minnesota Vikings.
Mike Zimmer. Well, why do you think they haven't won a Super Bowl? And actually, Kirk Cousins is actually still having a really solid year. I will say that. But the thing is Mike Zimmer will still tended to Kirk Cousins because he got him an offensive line in the draft this year. He gave him Justin Jefferson. And, you know, with Kevin Stefanski, he promoted Gary Kubiak to offensive coordinator. So he still found a way to help out his offense. And, you know, they extended Dalvin Cook, which is looking to be an actual smart move. Now, we'll see if that's the case in a couple of years because we all know how the running back position is so fluctuating. But I think Mike Zimmer's done a good job attending to the offense. I think Minnesota is not as fun. Like, Minnesota is in the same boat as the Rams. Their future is not as messed up as we thought it was going to be going into the year. They just have a quarterback. They have a quarterback contract dilemma.
I also think Minnesota needs a little more defense.
Oh, yeah, but the thing is, well, no, and I 100% agree with you. That's right now. Weird to say that Minnesota, their weak point is defense, because over the last 5 years, we just rave how great their offense is.
Right.
But Cameron Dantzler has been one of the highest graded cornerbacks over the last few weeks. Jeff Gladney's getting better every single week. You still have Harrison Smith, Anthony Harris. Daniel Hunter will be back next year. Eric Kendricks is still going to be there. If you can just beef up in the interior line or get another pass rusher, I think Minnesota could be coming a little bit.
Matt LaFleur.
Don't get, bro. He literally will kiss Aaron Rodgers' foot. He has done nothing but help Aaron Rodgers.
Can I remind you about a thing called the NFL draft?
You can. Can I also tell you?
Yeah, but LaFleur didn't have a lot of choice in the draft.
That's fair.
Right, but can we also talk about, bring in the players you want, but you realize Matt LaFleur still runs that offensive system the way Aaron Rodgers likes it. And what's Aaron Rodgers doing this year? Ben, do you want to remind me what Aaron Rodgers is doing this year?
He's balling out.
Right,
He's winning the MVP.
For like award this year, isn't he like the favorite for some award right now?
He is the favorite for, the MVP award.
The most valuable player of the National Football League.
in the league award, yeah.
Hey, I will not stand for the slander of Aaron Rodgers on this podcast.
Aaron Rodgers is the
Hey, Rod, big douche new.
Listen, I feel like I have been very nice to the Packers. Last year I was very mean to Green Bay. I'm make it up to them this year. And I still think Green Bay is a legitimate football team. Everyone still wants to rag on about how, defensively they can't do this and that. I'm like, well, they make enough stops during the regular season. I don't know. It doesn't really matter to Aaron Rodgers.
I think they're the team I trust most in the NFC.
I would agree, personally.
I think the Chiefs proved last year that you don't need a defense to win championships anymore.
And Green Bay has a defense. Like, don't get it twisted in that regard. And I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, Green Bay's defense was better than what Kansas City's defense was last year. And I don't even think it's close. Because they have one of the best, maybe the best corner in football right now in Jair Alexander. You still have Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith. You still have
Kenny Clark.
Christian Kirksey's back too, isn't he?
Yep. Adrian Amos has been playing good. Darnell Savage has had a couple good games here.
Right. And I don't know about you, but I fans or not, I don't know if I want to go to Lambeau Field in January. I don't know. I don't want to go play in the cold. Are you kidding?
I would absolutely love for Rodgers to win another MVP, and if he could get a second Super Bowl ring, I would be so happy for him.
That would Oh, I would feel very happy for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers kind of deserves another. He deserves at the very least another another Super Bowl.
He puts this team on his back every single year.
Right. Every year. He
And
deserves
they never help him out. He deserves this.
I think he does too. I think Green Bay, as of right now, they are my pick to win the NFC. Personally, especially if they're at home field throughout the whole entire playoffs. When it comes to the Super Bowl, I don't know. I think they'll probably end up playing Kansas City. I would love to see Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes. I think that's the matchup we all want to see, personally.
Kind of.
That would turn Super Bowl into the State Farm Bowl.
And that would be legend. The commercials would be legend.
Dude! Oh, they could do the whole commercial. That's all the only commercial they can play. It's
Right.
just State Farm competing commercials. That would be awesome.
State Farm is enjoying just everything right now.
I don't think it's gonna happen, but I think Steelers Packers would be cool too, because they both played in Super Bowl 45 10 years ago, and it would be like a rematch between the Big Ben and Aaron Rodgers. But
Right.
I think it's gonna be KC and it's KC Packers, and I'm so excited. I want to see Aaron Rodgers duel it out with Patrick Mahomes.
I think that would be a French kiss of a Super Bowl.
Yeah. And my prediction would not be one that would be liked by Patrick Mahomes. So,
I don't gut feeling would tell me Kansas City will win that football game, but it's been a while since we've seen Aaron in a Super Bowl. You mean to tell me that he's not going to be ready to play that football game?
I listen to Aaron Rodgers talk for an hour every single Tuesday.
Aaron Rodgers is on something this year, bro. He's on a revenge tour. And
He's on life.
They went 13-3 this year.
He's on the Pat McAfee show every Tuesday.
Kind of put the chip on your shoulder, but it's just like, ooh, damn.
And he's loving it, and that's what makes it so much better. But back to the Week 14. The Broncos beat the Panthers. Drew Lock, as we talked about, best game of his career. There's only been one quarterback this season with 4 touchdowns, a 75% completion rating, and a quarterback rating of 149 plus. And that man's name is Drew Lock. It's amazing. The future for the Broncos is bright. We do have over half our roster out. And I know this weekend we have a cornerback, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 out. But it's okay, because there's always next year, and we won with KJ Hamler this week without Noah Fant, so we can do it again. Future's bright. We're going to beat the Bills. Yeah. Packers won, and a good matchup. Aaron Rodgers dominant once again.
You know what? I think the Packers' biggest weakness is?
They give other teams a chance.
Special teams. We are so bad on special teams. We've allowed half of all the NFL punt returns this year for touchdowns.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous. Every time we punt the ball, it's like me freaking out. Like, even in the Lions game, they had a 75-yard return. Every week, of the last 3 or 4 games, they've either returned a punt for a touchdown or returned a punt into the red zone and they get points.
Jesus.
Just go for it on 4th down, no matter where you're at on the field. Just madden it.
We actually are first in the league in 4th down conversion right now.
Huh.
That's surprised.
By the way, that is a really crucial stat come playoff time, just so you guys know.
Well, they are my Super Bowl goers, so glad to have that on my side.
That's a stat that's going to fly under the radar. That's going to be really important come playoff time. Because one thing you're going to want to do when you're playing these good teams, you want to keep their good quarterbacks off the football field. How do you do that? You convert on 3rd and 4th down.
Very fair. Very fair. One team that's not good at converting on 3rd and 4th down are the Chargers.
Oh, and it makes me sad.
But I mean, they won, right? That's all that matters.
I love Justin Herbert. I think he's good. They're just in such a bad spot.
Just glad the Broncos are better than them. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, but they already have a better quarterback.
Drew Lock is a great quarterback. Did you just hear the stat I said?
I did read it, and there's always outliers for people's performances. Geno Smith once had a perfect passer rating.
Horse cock lock.
I'd rather have Justin Herbert than Drew Lock.
I would take Justin Herbert by a country mile.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a cool nickname.
That is fair.
I mean,
What are we going to call him? Herbert the pervert?
Sold. Start making
Because
t-shirts.
he's a predator to the defenses.
Okay. Okay.
Brendan, this is why we can't have nice things. The Colts.
Where's
It's a great quarterback. The Colts should be getting a great quarterback sometime here, right?
Oh,
That would truly put them over the top.
Captain.
What was that?
I said I am just waiting for the Colts to get their guy.
They had him. He retired.
Once don't make me sad. They did have their guy, and then he retired because they did nothing to help him. And now that they actually have an offense, can you imagine this Colts team with Andrew Luck right now? Can we just picture that for a second? Would they not be the second best team in the NFC?
The AFC, they'd be leading the West. They'd be leading the AFC, I think. It would be a very fun battle between Mahomes and Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton would have, like, triple the yards.
Dude, T.Y. is back just in time for a playoff run.
I'm not saying he isn't. I'm just saying he would have had triple the yards this season.
That's fair. Run game for the Colts getting a lot better. Liking it. Defense still alive, still chugging away. Not as dominant as once, but they're still doing great.
Kenny Moore's one-handed interception.
That was pretty great. Not gonna lie.
It was on You Got Mossed.
Oof, you did get mossed. That's awesome. What else happened here? Titans killed the Jacksonville Jaguars, bringing back Gardner Minshew to the Jaguars next week starting. I'm loving it.
I almost wouldn't start him.
Why?
Because he's not going to be your quarterback next year, and you want to keep losing.
You think he's going to really help the team win?
I think Gardner Minshew gives him a better chance to win than Jake fucking Luton. Think about it. All those few close games that Jacksonville's been in. Can you imagine if they had Gardner Minshew instead of Jake Luton?
It's because the Jags are trying to tank for Justin Fields.
Pretty much. And now all of a sudden, if the Jets can just somehow find a way to win a game, they have a shot at they still have a shot at Trevor Lawrence.
I don't think they see Trevor Lawrence on their team.
What?
They could have.
What do you mean?
You've met Tony Khan. He's a weird guy. Or you've heard about Tony Khan. He's a weird guy.
I understand Tony Khan is a weird guy, but like, you mean to tell me that if the best quarterback that we have seen since Andrew Luck coming out of college is on the board at the number 1 overall pick, you don't take him? You would be insane. And the Jets would literally, like, I don't even know what the Jets would do. They would kiss you. And
the Khan family would take that kiss and say thank you.
There's literally no logical circumstance where Trevor Lawrence is not the first overall pick this upcoming draft.
Right, which is why the Jags aren't going to get him.
No, but I'm saying the Jags have a shot at the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, but they don't want him.
They don't want the number 1 overall pick?
No, they don't want Trevor Lawrence.
What? Everyone wants Trevor. There is literally only like maybe 5 to 8 teams in the NFL where I would take the quarterback I have over Trevor Lawrence. Other than that, if I was every other team in the NFL, I would consider it, if not want him.
Hey, the Khans care too much about Trevor Lawrence's future. They can't give it to him in Jacksonville.
Well, and you can give it to him in New York? I will
Jacksonville
say,
still believes in Gardner.
Well, don't forget, the Jags also have 2 first-round picks this year.
Yes, the Jags are going to be a fun team to watch draft.
They will be. Them and the Jets are going to be very intriguing.
Yes, I can't wait. And the Dolphins. Don't forget about the Dolphins.
Yes, the Dolphins. The Dolphins are just loading up to help out Tua.
And what makes that awesome is the Dolphins are already a playoff team.
They are, and I think they will make the playoffs.
And that means next year, Super Bowl.
Potentially. Especially if Tua can continue to progress. Ooh, it's going to be a deadly team. And then when they get another edge rusher, or they get Jamar Chase to help out Tua, ooh.
Oh, you're giving great ideas there.
I'm just saying, Miami. Like I said, when you said Miami's winning Super Bowl this year, I literally have said you're a year away. If you're to say that next year, I'd be like, yeah, I could see it. Legitimate defense. I also think Tua's going to be really, really good. And from everything I've seen, he's definitely on pace to be a really good quarterback in this league. So, Miami's going to be a fun team to watch next year.
Yes. Speaking of Miami, Xavier Howard had 3 picks on Patrick Mahomes. Or I guess he didn't have all 3. But Mahomes got picked off 3 times, and Xavier Howard is a big reason why. Pretty damn fun to see.
You know what's crazy to say though about Patrick Mahomes? That was probably the worst game he's ever had in his career, and he still was really good. because he had two interceptions. One of them was off a drop ball, and the second one was a one-handed interception by Xavier Howard.
Think about this though: how many other quarterbacks could have a 3-interception game and still win?
Which is exactly why Mahomes isn't the MVP this year. That's why it's Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly.
Because based on the criteria for MVP, who's the most valuable to their team? Now, don't get me wrong. Without Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs would not be as good. Like, they would not be as good. And they would not have won that game if Patrick Mahomes wasn't the quarterback. But it just goes to show how good that team really is. Aaron Rodgers, if he goes down, we've seen it when Aaron Rodgers goes down. It's not good. Green Bay's not a good team when Aaron Rodgers goes down.
Aaron Rodgers has never won a game where he's thrown more than 2 interceptions.
Oof.
I think to be fair though, his last game with 3 interceptions, I think was 2008.
way to go there.
How often does Aaron Rodgers have multiple interception games? And every time it happens, everyone flips out because it's a rarity.
Good point. Another quarterback that did amazing this weekend. The best quarterback of his draft class, Mr. Mitch Trubisky, went off, destroyed Deshaun Watson's Texans.
Oh, poor Deshaun. That's a guy I feel bad for. Think about this. Like 8 months ago, they were up 24-0 on the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs, and now look where they are.
Yes.
Because of an incompetent fool and Bill O'Brien. If you're not careful, Houston, you're going to get the next Andrew Luck. And I don't mean that as a compliment.
That's mean. But, yeah, Mitch Trubisky had the best quarterback rating this week out of the 3. And I was very happy to see Mitch Trubisky playing so damn well, barely making it to the playoffs.
It was fun. Good for Mitch Trubisky. He can hang his hat on this one. He can use this to justify getting a backup role next year. So good for him in that regard.
Backup role?
Yeah.
Mitch Trubisky is playing like a Class 2 quarterback.
Awesome. He played really good against the Texans. I'm happy for him. Good for him, buddy. Good for you, buddy.
And the week before.
Who did they play last week?
I don't know. They won, though.
I don't know. It probably wasn't against a very good team, but...
It was against the damn Lions. They lost.
They lost to the Lions.
It wasn't his fault. I promise.
Whose fault was it?
The defense.
What was the score of that game?
34-30.
Give me Mitch Trubisky's stat line.
26-34 for 267 and a touchdown.
Passer rating.
I don't see it. 108.3.
Decent. That's pretty good. Okay. All right, Mitch. I'll give you that. You played good against 2 bad defenses. But,
that's all we need. That's half the NFC North.
Yeah, if it gets him a job next year, if it justifies giving him another contract, I mean, good on Chicago.
That's all I ask for.
But, do what you gotta do, Chicago. That's all I have to say.
As a Packer fan, I fully endorse Mitch Trubisky for the Bears.
I'm sure you do.
Don't worry. I love Mitch Trubisky too, so he can stay as long as he wants. Next 10 years. I'm all for it.
Mitch Trubisky is such a weird story.
Yes, because it's not his fault.
8 games in college. There's only tape of him playing 8 games. And he got drafted number 3.
Mitch Trubisky.
It is not his fault at all.
Mitch Trubisky wasn't even good in college, bro.
He was good.
Not really.
He had good numbers. He wasn't bad.
Yeah, you can have solid numbers in college against the crappy ACC, but when you actually go break down the film and you watch the games, it's not good. He wasn't good.
Oh well. Mafia beat the Steelers.
Bills Mafia.
Mafia looking good. Gonna lose this weekend to the Denver Broncos. Saw that.
Okay.
Yeah. Game of the year though was on Monday night.
Yeah.
It was quite a great game.
It was really good.
Lamar Jackson took care of the Browns and then took care of the Browns.
Can't beat the Browns if you can't beat the Brown.
We got to see everything of that game, from 20,000 rushing touchdowns to Trace McSorley and a safety. We got it all.
Sorley sacrificed his knee so Lamar Jackson could take a shit.
Sadly, Trace McSorley has been put on IR
Yeah.
because of the knee injury.
But isn't that the quarterback I would want as my backup? Yes, sir.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Trace McSorley is goated, but whatever.
Yo, Duncan,
Yo,
who would you rather have as the Bears starting quarterback? Mitch
Don't
Trubisky
even.
or Trace Sorley?
don't even take me there. I don't want to live in that world.
Oh my God, Indianapolis needs a quarterback. Trade for Trace McSorley.
Oh,
Yo, that'd make me a full-on Colts fan. I would legit go Colts. But, wild stuff. I think it solidified both teams as being playoff teams, though. And for me, if it's not Matt LaFleur that becomes coach of the year, I think it should be Kevin Stefanski for sure.
It's gotta be. I think it's gotta be Kevin Stefanski. You're about to lead Cleveland to the playoffs. That in itself is a feat.
You made it to where Baker Mayfield stopped throwing interceptions.
Yeah, and he's actually looking decent.
He just stopped throwing interceptions.
Well, they decided to actually run the game plan that fits them the best, and that's establishing the run. You have two very good running backs on your roster. Use them.
Yeah. Well, might as well. We got a loaded pick on this week. I don't know if we should say our scores or just our predictions for the game. We got a lot. Starting off here, Thursday Night Football is going to be a fun one. It's an AFC West battle. Possibly the Raiders' last chance at making the playoffs. Raiders and Chargers are facing off. I'm excited for this one because I get to watch these two teams that I'm not necessarily fans of just go and hopefully not do good things to each other. And I think the Raiders are going to win this one, but I hope Justin Herbert has a good game.
I also think the Raiders are going to win this one. I think both teams are going to put up some points, but I think the Raiders are going to keep their playoffs hope alive, and they're going to win 32-25.
I have the Chargers winning. I think the Chargers can build off their win against or who they beat last week?
Falcons.
They can build off their win against the Falcons. I think Justin Herbert has a chance to have a really good game against a really bad Oakland defense. And I just want to see Justin Herbert be successful. So 27-20, Chargers get the win.
The Falcons beat the Raiders. The Chargers beat the Falcons. Therefore, the Chargers are better than the Raiders. But I'm still going to give it to the upset and have the Raiders beat the Chargers.
All right. I also forgot to say I hope Josh Jacobs has one hell of a game this weekend. Next up, Saturday afternoon football because it's Christmas season. It's the Bills at the Broncos, and I already have said probably 4 or 5 times in this episode that the Broncos are going to win. I think it's going to be a close one, like 28-27, something like that. But I think the Broncos are going to find a way to win and just, kind of mess with the Bills' destiny.
So as a sane person, I have the Bills winning. I think they'll hold the Broncos to not a lot of points. I think the Bills, it's not going to be a super high scoring game. The Bills are going to put up 28, and then they're not really going to need to push the ball down the field anymore. I have 28-14 Bills.
Yeah, Bills are going to clobber them. 34-17.
Bills winning a close one.
Ooh, close. Oh, my goodness. Y'all are being disrespectful to Buffalo right now. They don't deserve that.
They deserve everything they're getting.
The Broncos front seven, even without Vaughn right now has
They
just a good way of disrupting
They
quarterbacks.
completely manhandled the Pittsburgh Steelers, bro.
Yeah, but the Steelers aren't
And
good, bro.
Okay, but they
I would
are.
take the
The
Broncos
Broncos' offense is
led
just as
by
good as the
KJ
Steelers'
Hamler than
offense,
I would
Oh,
bro.
the
get that
Steelers
bullshit
offense with
out of
Ben
my
Roethlisberger.
radio or out of
Yes,
my drums. That is
KJ
not a
Hamler
factual statement.
is the best out of all the receivers there. KJ Hamler is the best one.
What?
Nobody cares about Stephon Diggs. Next up we
What?
got Panthers
The
at the
fuck is
Packers.
Oh my lord.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Football. Packers are gonna kill the Panthers. The Panthers defense is gonna do really, 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 really bad, but it's gonna be okay because Aaron Rodgers isn't gonna have a great game. 42-24.
Yeah, you mentioned a little bit ago on how good Drew Lock was against the Panthers. Aaron Rodgers, this is going to be a fun game for Aaron Rodgers. He's going to go out there, smile, laugh, throw a couple touchdowns, and then he's going to chill on the bench while Tim Boyle takes a knee. 40-21 Packers.
Yeah. I think if Carolina can run the ball effectively, they'll make it interesting. I think they are going to try and establish the run. We don't know if McCaffrey's playing. I hope he is. He probably
He is
won't.
not playing. Matt Rule says he does not expect Christian McCaffrey to play.
But is he officially ruled out, or is that just he just doesn't expect him to play?
I don't know, but I don't think he's going to play. I would give the Panthers more points if I thought Christian McCaffrey was going to play because the Packers have no run defense.
Well,
But
Davis, I think they can still do some damage on the run, but certainly not enough to beat the Green Bay Packers. I still think Green Bay is going to win 34-21, and it'll probably be a couple garbage touchdowns.
I'm in the same boat. I think that the Packers are going to just take a lead early, and then the Panthers are going to get some garbage time touchdowns that just look nice. I don't think Teddy's going to have a necessarily bad game. Like, I don't think he's going to cause turnovers or anything like that, but yeah. Packers win.
Awesome. Next up, we got some Sunday Night Football. We just watched the Browns in a matchup against the Ravens. Well, this time they're going up against a little bit of an easier opponent in the Giants. I have the Browns winning this one. I think it's going to be really close, but and high scoring. But Baker's got to make it to the playoffs, so we got Browns.
I also have this being kind of a high-scoring, close game. I think the Giants will be able to keep it on a little bit. I think it'll become a shootout at the end. I have the Browns winning 32-27.
So I have an interesting prediction. I think the Giants are going to be hungry for a win. I think the one thing the Giants are good at is they are really good at run defense. So I think they're going to be able to take that away from the Cleveland Browns. Baker's always hit and miss for me, especially when you take away the run game. So I think the Giants are going to get the upset here. I think it's going to be 23-20 New York Football Giants.
I think that it's going to start really close. Kind of like how we went into halftime. Never mind, that's not a good example. I think it's going to start really close. I think it's going to end at halftime like 14-14. But then the second half is just going to be the Browns show. So the Browns are going to win.
Alrighty. Next up, Steelers at Bengals. Steelers on a 2-game losing streak. Bengals coming off a tough loss. I think the Steelers get this one 32-21. Because Juju's gonna dance on the logo.
I think I might have the lowest scoring. I actually do have the lowest total score. I think the Steelers I think their struggles the last 2 weeks specifically have been on offense. I know their pass rush hasn't been as good the last couple weeks either. Bengals don't have a good offensive line. Their quarterback's not very good. I have 28-3 Steelers. I think it's going to be kind of similar to the Seahawks playing the Jets this week. I think the Steelers are just going to manhandle the Bengals, and they'll get a field goal, but not going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, 27-10. I'm kind of just spitballing a score out there. I think Pittsburgh, I don't know. I think Big Ben's going to go in nonchalant, so he may be stupid and have a couple turnovers because that's just been Big Ben's MO this year is just inconsistency and just, hey, I'm going to have sloppy turnovers against bad teams. But this is still a really bad Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati team. So Pittsburgh will get a win. They'll bounce back after a 2-game losing streak after playing real opponents. And they will win.
So I have this game having the weird juju of a divisional game.
I love what you did there.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Man, I'm smarter than I realized. Anyways, I think it's going to be surprisingly close just because it's a divisional game. I do think the biggest thing coming into this is the fact that the Steelers do have that 2-game losing streak. And granted, one of them was the Washington football team's defense, which is really strong against just what Noah kind of said about how Big Ben's just super inconsistent. I do think the Steelers will squeak away a win, and that'll kind of drive forth some extra momentum for them to finish out the season. But I definitely think that the Bengals will still provide a decent competition and make it a 1-score game.
Awesome. Next up, we have, I think it's going to be a fun matchup, Patriots at the Dolphins. So I think it's going to be close, but I think that the better team is going to win, and that will be the Dolphins 21-18.
I also think the Dolphins will win, just like the Dolphins won. Is this their first matchup or the second one they played this year?
This is the second. The Dolphins got their butts handed to them the first time.
So just like we saw the Dolphins win, what was it, a year before in their second matchup, the Dolphins are going to win here. Tua's going to have a good game. It will be close though. It is a divisional game, but the Dolphins are going to beat the Patriots. Bill Belichick's going to get embarrassed, and then they're going to lose to the Jets. Oh yeah, 21-20.
It's clear that the Patriots have no offense with Cam Newton. It is obvious. And against a really good Miami defense, they will struggle, but I think New England's defense can make it interesting. But I'm going to give Tua the edge 24-10. I think Miami, this is going to be the first game in a long time where they've looked truly dominant against New England.
Call it what you will. I have some blind faith coming into this that some fuck shit's gonna happen. I have one of the lowest, it would be one of the lowest scores in football this year. I think it might be the lowest score if it were to happen. I have the Patriots winning 16-14. I think this is going to just be a battle of defenses. I think the Patriots defense is going to generate a turnover from Tua that will result in points. I think potentially pick 6.
Interesting. Next up we have the Cardinals at the Eagles. It's a battle of the birds. I have the Cardinals winning 27-17. I do still think Jalen Hurts looks good in this game, though.
What do I have? I actually think Jalen Hurts will carry the momentum. I think this late in the year in Philadelphia, it's always a tough place to play. I think when Arizona meets physical defenses, they can tend to struggle. I think Jalen Hurts plays pretty decent enough. I think the spark will still be there. So I think Philadelphia wins 24-20.
I have the Cardinals winning this one. I think this one's going to be a shootout in the end. Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, a lot of running quarterbacks, a lot of throwing the ball down the field, 42-41.
I think this game's also going to be pretty close, but I do give the edge to the Cardinals just because the Cardinals have been actually like a really good football team pretty much all around this season.
They've been a little inconsistent.
A little bit, but not terribly.
By a little bit, I mean it's like when they're hot, then they lose a few games in a row, and it's like,
I don't know. I still have faith.
never know what
in
I'm getting
the
from Arizona week after week. I just never know.
I have faith in the 7th seed. I'm going to give them the win 29-21. Jalen Hurts still looks good.
Ben, did you say your score?
For the yeah, I did for Cardinals Eagles.
Okay. Next up, we got the Chiefs at the Saints. This could be a good matchup, except for Taysom Hill is starting at quarterback, not Drew Brees. I have 38-17. I think Kansas City easily comes away with the victory, and I think it solidifies that the Green Bay Packers will be the number 1 seed of the NFC.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. You give Patrick Mahomes possessions, you're gonna lose. Do I think New Orleans can stop Patrick Mahomes at times and force a couple turnovers against for this Chiefs defense? I do. I think New Orleans is a really good defense. So for that, I think that they'll give that they're gonna give Taysom Hill some possessions. You know, I heard some rumors that this might be the time to put in Jameis Winston because you're going to need that big play, big arm ability. So that's an interesting thing to kind of keep an eye on. But I got to go with, I think the Chiefs are overall, I still think the Chiefs are a better team than New Orleans with or without Taysom Hill. So I got to give the edge to the better team, Kansas City. They will win. What did I have? I think I had 34-27. Let me double check. 34-27 Kansas City.
I have New Orleans winning this one in a closer game. I think New Orleans defense is really good, and I think it's going to be just good at slowing down the Chiefs. If the Chiefs kind of get slowed down whatsoever, it does make it harder for them.
See, but to be honest, when have we really seen that though? Like since Patrick Mahomes, when we've really seen him be like slowed down? Because even when we thought we saw it against Miami, like we saw what happened.
Just it's gonna happen. Like New Orleans is the best defense in the league for a reason.
Okay.
They're also coming off, losing to like a backup quarterback. Granted, the Jalen Hurts situation's more complicated than that, but they're gonna like take that and they're gonna play angry. And I think that's going to kind of give the defense just more hype. And I have it being 23-20. Special score.
I have the Chiefs winning this one. This is going to be one of the highest scoring games of the week, I think. Taysom Hill, I think Taysom Hill is going to have a good game against Kansas City. He won't be able to keep up with Patrick Mahomes, though. And I have the Chiefs winning 38-31.
Awesome. Next up, we have Seattle Seahawks at the Washington football team. I almost wanted to go with football team here, but I just couldn't. I think Russ is going to win this one 28-17. Just because I think it's going to be Dwayne Haskins still in at quarterback.
I did it, guys. I picked Washington football team in this one. They beat. Is Alex Smith confirmed not playing, or
He's undergoing more knee tests.
I have 18-16 Washington football team. They beat the Steelers. They're on a hot streak. If Alex Smith doesn't play, flip this. I'm going to keep the same score, but I think it's going to be the Steelers. I think this Washington football team is going to harass the Big Ben, and he's going to have or not Big Ben, excuse me. Sorry, Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson is going to be running for his life. It's going to be a low-scoring game either way.
What do I have? So I was unaware that Alex Smith wasn't going to play. But I had 27-24 Seattle. If Alex Smith doesn't play, I think Seattle could put up more just because they give Russell Wilson more possessions. But that Washington defense is legit. And I said it would be beginning of the year, but I didn't think Chase Young would be this good. Oh, my Lord.
I really wanted to put the Washington football team as winning as well. I just also was kind of in that same boat. Like, it's not Alex Smith. So even though it's a cakewalk defense in the Seahawks defense, granted, they have been playing a little bit better than some of their earlier seasons or earlier part of the season, but
Seattle's defense has really stepped it up in the past 3 weeks.
Well, really, since they've gotten Carlos Dunlap, they actually have a little bit of a pass rush now.
yeah,
That's true.
But I just think that it's still going to probably end up being close, just because I think Washington's going to be able to make Russ sweat a little bit, and that's all that really matters for like slowing or beating the Seahawks. Is you gotta take Russell Wilson by the horns. Anyways, I have it being 22-19 Seattle.
Russell, in our last game, the Bears at the Minnesota Vikings, this could potentially be for a wild card spot, and so that's why it's on here. And it's always a good game when the Bears play the Vikings. I think the Bears are gonna beat the Vikings pretty easily, though. Mitch Trubisky's gonna have another 4-touchdown game.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. You know why I put this game. Justin Jefferson's gonna solidify some amazing catch over somebody, and it's going to solidify him as Rookie of the Year. But it's not going to matter because Mitch Trubisky's going to get the win 36-20 because defense wins and Mitch Trubisky wins.
I had the Vikings winning this game. I think from both teams we're going to see a lot of running the ball. I know David Montgomery's been playing good recently, and so has Dalvin Cook. I think that's really just what's going to come down to. I think the Vikings are going to be able to run the ball efficiently with Dalvin Cook. I know Chicago's defense has been good against the run recently, but Dalvin Cook is going to get fed, and it's going to be 28-21 Vikings.
Yeah, I think Minnesota's going to win too. I think they're going to do whatever they want offensively to Chicago if they establish a run against Dalvin Cook, which I think they will. It'll help out Kirk Cousins. I think that Chicago's defense has been exposed over the last couple of weeks, so I think that's going to be a big glaring issue. And I just don't think Mitch Trubisky is going to have a good game. I just don't. I think he comes back down to earth a little bit.
I think it doesn't matter how good of a game Mitch Trubisky has. I think that this is going to be the Bears defense kind of bouncing back, per se. I think that they're going to stop the run because that's what they were really good at throughout the season. They're going to continue to be good at it, force Kirk Cousins to pass, and Kirk Cousins is not generally great in games he needs to win. And this is a game he really needs to win in order for the Vikings to make that wild card spot. So I have the Bears winning 24-16 with a missed extra point and a missed field goal by Dan Bailey.
Okay. And that's all for this week's episode. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. And if we don't see you before Christmas, Happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
I'm Duncan.
By the way, Hanukkah's gonna be what, on its last day when this is released?
Yeah. Happy Hanukkah.
Happy
Yep,
Hanukkah.
and then Joyous Kwanzaa starting the 26th.
Yeah.
Happy Winter Solstice, the 22nd, 20th, somewhere in there. Covering our bases.
There we go. See you next week.
See ya.
Bye.